Welcome to the Encore Audio Archives YouTube channel. I'm Taper Dave, and this is my channel. I've uploaded hundreds of talks here that I've recorded at meetings in West LA, and I've also recorded conventions starting in 2013. I've got a bunch of those up. And Walt and Mary Murray, the original owners of Encore Audio Archives, started the company in the 80s, and Walt recorded Joe and Charlie's and a bunch of stuff down in Vista, California. My sobriety date is June 20th of 1994. I hope you find something you like, so please like and subscribe to my channel and comment down below. If you want to hear something that I don't have or that you don't see, I'll see that I get it. Anyways, take care and have a great day if you want to.
Y'all in for a real treat. I met this woman about 20 years ago. She was in recovery house. She started changing, started working the deal. She changed quite a bit, and she's still doing a lot of service work. Without further ado, here's Evelyn from STARKVILLE.
I just want to say thank you. I want to thank you, Amanda, for even calling me and for this group, this kickoff convention, having me as a speaker. I'd like to thank James for, let me tell you something about James and his wonderful tapes. I use them all the time. So if you're ever in need of some AA, please get with James because he's got some awesome tapes. If you just ask him for something for you, he can pick it out for you. He's been an awesome treat to me. And I got a fellow with me today, and I know him professionally, and he's just been so awesome in my life. Y'all in AA, as I got sober in Columbus, I would go meet him every 3 months, every 6 months, every 9 months, and he would see what y'all would feed me when I see him once I have to report to him. And I'm so, so grateful that he's here tonight. He drove a long way to hear me speak. Let me tell you, a lot of changes that went on in my life since you asked me to speak. I've gotten married. And I want to say my name is EVELYN McKinney, and I am an alcoholic. And I'm so grateful to be sober. And my sobriety date is July 3rd, 1992. And because of Alcoholics Anonymous, the power that I found in this program and the people that I met, my life has changed. And I live a good life today from where I come from. And I want to say thank you. And I'm so nervous, y'all. I've been back and forth to that bathroom. There's a lady in here. She said, every time I come in the bathroom, I see you. I said, I'm just dumping, hoping that God put something up in there, you know. I'm just trying to clean it, keep the channel flowing, you know. But, you know, I'm from Jackson, Mississippi, and, you know, I'm not a good speaker, and I'm not here to get anybody sober. I'm here because somebody was here speaking when I came to a meeting, and I'm here because it keeps me sober that I look back and remember who and what I am. You know, first of all, I'm a drunk no matter what. I remember coming to my sponsor one day and I told her, I said, I'm an abused woman. She said, you're an alcoholic. I said, well, I was abused as a child. She said, you're still an alcoholic. You know, I've been listening to these talk shows, you know, so I'm diagnosing myself. And she said, you're still an alcoholic. She said, Evelyn, everybody that goes through those things don't become alcoholics. So you're an alcoholic first. So I must remember that I'm an alcoholic first. I was born in Jackson, and I have two brothers, and a lot of people heard me talk, but I'm going to tell y'all this story. I had two brothers, and God knows we were bad little kids, and my parents divorced when we were young, and I don't know if they had divorces back, you know, single-parent homes. Now it's a norm, somewhat, single-parent home, but we grew up in a single-parent home, and I just want to say my mother did, if she ever hears my tape, she did the best that she could do with the 3 kids that she was left to raise. You know, what she did was went out and worked so she can keep a roof over our head. I don't think she had this dream for her daughter to be an alcoholic. I don't think that happened, but she worked really hard just to keep a roof over our heads, and I'm so grateful for that. As a young child, not knowing what happens in life, not understanding how life goes, you know, I thought that I was cut short of some things. But I had a good childhood, and and as I got to be a teenager, I got involved with some things I shouldn't have got involved with, and probably with some guys, and I had children at a young age. Um, I had my first drink when I was about 15 years old, and out of that drink, all I remember is they put me in the shower. And I couldn't understand why they was putting them in the shower, and they took me home and just left me. And a couple of days later, they told me there was some Mad Dog 2020 that I drank. So I was a winette to begin with. So it was, I didn't want anything to do with that. I didn't want to have to feel like that. I didn't like that. I didn't want anything to do with that. So I vowed that I never wanted to feel like that again. So I was in my 20s by the time I took my next drink. But let me tell you, I had a lot of behavior problems in between then and my 20s. I had left home at 16. I went to the streets to hustle. I went to the streets to learn how to steal. I went to the streets to learn how to survive. I love what Mr. Woodrow used to talk about an alcoholic woman, the shame and the degradation that an alcoholic woman has to face each day of living. I don't know about the guys, I won't speak for me. But it's nothing to hold your head up and be proud of. You look down at the ground, and my worth was based on what they thought of me, And so as I did those things, I found my next drink when I was in my 20s, and I met this woman that my husband at that time, he said, why don't you go be with her? He was kind of tired of me hanging around him. I had no friends at this point. I knew nothing about a God, and those times I was taken to church, once I got out of Mama's house, I wasn't going back to church, The God thing wasn't for me. And so I would hang with her, and she shared with me, she drank, but she talked to me about, won't you want to drink? I was like, no, I don't want that. No, I don't want that. She said, and I told her about my experience. She said, let me show you how to drink. So she taught me how to drink. And I was like, wow, I thought my mama needed her a little nip or two. She wouldn't be so stern on us, I found the way of life there. My mom didn't know, she wasn't hip, to things. She needed her a drink. I found some kind of relief. And what happened to me was I have a whole day of something going on, and nothing in my life was right. I didn't get what I wanted. And at the end of the day, when I took that drink, my insides would go, whew, it's going to be all right now. It's going to be all right. That was my life. It was going to be all right. Drinking would consume of me. I would eat breakfast because I get sick if I didn't eat. I would eat, watch the stories, get us a drink by supper time, get supper on early, and the whole night was about drinking. In the neighborhood I stayed in, there were some people that would be sitting on the porch when other people go to work. I would be her. And I would say, them people don't know what they're doing. I wouldn't go to work like that every day and not have fun like this. The alcoholic is one thing that's in the gutter and looks down at people that are standing above them. And I felt like I was so slick, hip, and cool that I didn't have to punch a clock. I could steal and get what I wanted. I could hustle and get what I want, But eventually that stopped working for me. The lady that I started drinking with, she's like, dog, you drink more than I do. I thought that was something to be proud of, I didn't know she didn't like me at this point, And that was a him, and he had always some extracurricular activities that I didn't care about, and I would let everybody know I wasn't happy. When I'm not happy, everybody's gonna know it. At this point, I'm a young woman, I'm wild, and he really has to be my father more than anything. Because, I would tell him what I thought of him, his folks, his cousins, his mama. I'd tell him whatever I need to tell him in order to hurt him because he had hurt me. That went on for a while, and after that, I had to let him go. One thing about drinking, he can't go where I'm going. Because I can't drink with him. I got to hustle because I'm drinking a lot more than he needs to know about. So I'm off on my own drinking. I leave home, and I had these 2 kids at this point, and I wanted to be a good mother. And if anybody told me that I wasn't a good mother, I'd be ready to fight. Because, see, when I had money, I'd do something for my kids, buy them a couple of dollars of candy, Around Christmas time, I would buy 2 or 3 toys, and I would take some back by the time they went to sleep, because I had to have some money. I was being a good mother. I love in the big book, it talks about, I think the last chapter in the book that talks about the world judged me by my actions, and I judged me by my intentions. I always intended to do the right thing. If y'all just give me a chance, I'll show you. But I had a lot of philosophical ideas. I had a lot of morals that I thought you should live by that I couldn't even muster. I had no clue. I'd live life based on what I thought, or based on what I thought you wanted me to think, or how you wanted me to act. But now that's nobody's fault but mine. I blame no one for that. So I went out and had to get rid of him. He liked to fight a little bit. I had to go find me something else. I wanted to find me a man that I could whoop. I love what David I say. I may not be the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I'm not the dullest. I knew that I needed to find me one that I could beat on so I wouldn't have to get the punches. So what happened for me, I got me one of those, and he just wasn't fun to be around. I had to just let him go, because I like a challenge. Oh, I love a challenge. Oh, I'm a real alcoholic. I love a challenge. Say no, and I'm going to show you yes. Say yes, I'm going to show you no. I'm just going to go against the grain no matter what. So I had these 2 kids, and, I was living this world that I thought that was a good world, and it was the only world I knew. I was happy with the way I was living. I got into some outside issues. I got to the point where I dropped out of school in the 10th grade. Me and David was talking about this today. I dropped out of school in the 10th grade. I was 22 when I went back to school and got my GED. And I went to school to take a vocational trade. I was trying to buy my own car because I was tired of him giving me money and taking it back. I wasn't going because I was smart, and I just thought I needed to have a future. I went because I was sick of him, and I needed to do something about it. But I didn't have the power to keep that together. I worked that job for 2 years with that vocational trade, and then I lost it. And I lost him, and I lost it, and none of this stuff mattered at this point. I got these 2 kids that my mama has to take care of because I can't show up. And I always blame my mother. I thought she wanted to take my kids away from me. If you just let me take care of my own kids, I can do it. And she always stepped in. I blamed her because I just felt like she just didn't give me a chance. So after that, I had been going to some places that women shouldn't go, especially at night. I was in some abandoned houses, and I was hanging with some folks. I didn't know who they were. I just knew somebody was going to kill me at some point because I didn't know if I robbed them or cussed them out or what I did. This lady got killed in an abandoned house I had been in a week before, and I was sure enough scared at this point because I knew I was screwed. I knew I was screwed because I didn't know what to do. I don't know if I saw anybody from Alcoholics Anonymous, but at my mother's church, she said they had a AA program, so I was reluctant because I didn't want Mama to know what I was doing. I was going to go to the church and go to the meeting, and they asked me a couple of questions, and I told them no, and I didn't do stuff like that, and so I just couldn't be honest there. So let me tell you about this. Me and him broke up again. I wanted him back because I knew nothing else but him. So I went back to get him back, and we were going to be together. And, I love the cartoons. The hearts in the ceiling would start floating up at this point. I live in this fantasy world, I got a lot of stuff going on between my ears, but there's nothing happening there. So I go back to see him, and me and him are going to be together. We're going to rekindle this relationship that we have. And we were supposed to meet. I met him in this club. And this club would look like an old wood frame house with a front room as a pool table, a jukebox in the back. I don't think they have those today. I'm not sure, but I don't want to find out. But and they would have dice game over on the side. And she was there. And I let her know that I was present. I told this story for so long when I was drinking. I said I walked past her and she hit me. I probably told her something about her mom and her folks too. Ain't no telling about me. I had a mouth on me that wouldn't wait. So I probably engaged in something, and she had to do something before I engaged on her. So she hit me. And, I was frequently going to the hospital, and at this point, I had something stuck in my head. She was shooting pool. I said, dog, she done hit me with that pool stick. I can't look bad at this point. I got to show her what I'm working with, you know? So she hit me with this pool stick, and I pulled at it, and I couldn't get it out. Dog. And I got this guy at the club to come take me to the hospital because I can't get the stick out so I can take care of her. I got to the hospital, and they put me in the emergency room, and let me tell you something. I've been scared a lot of times, and I can suck it up, and I can swallow it down, and I can smile, and I can fake it till I make it. And they got me in that hospital room, and they did some tests on me, and they said, that's not a pool stick in your eye. She hit me in my eye. That's not a pool stick, that's a knife. And what you're feeling is the handle, the wood handle of the knife, because the blade is lodged on the inside. Yeah, I did the same thing. Yeah, I was real quiet at that point. Because whatever God there was in this world, I had never asked him for anything unless I was in trouble. I had done all the things wrong in life that the preacher said you shouldn't do. I had done all the things that mama said you better not do. And my friends' mothers didn't want me hanging with them. So I knew I had nowhere to go. And I was scared. And I was quiet. And that's a part of me even today. When I get scared, even in sobriety, I get quiet. I'm a fun, loving, happy person, but when I'm in trouble, I'm quiet. I was quiet that day, and they did some tests on me after that, and they said the knife blade is at the tip of your carotid artery. If we pull that knife out, you could bleed to death. We may have to cut your skull open in order to stop the bleeding, or we can pull the knife out and it may not touch it. See, I knew I was screwed. I just knew it. For some reason, there was a God out there. There was somebody out there thinking about me when I wasn't even thinking about myself. There was something protecting me when I wasn't even smart enough to protect myself. And I always think I'm so slick, hip, and cool, and I can get out of these situations because, I'm just sharp. They pulled that knife out, and I didn't lose my eye, and I had about 3 stitches. And, I was so grateful. I was so grateful. See, my mother worked in that hospital I was in. She had to always hear about her daughter coming to the hospital. She got her head busted this time. She got a black eye this time. She been cut this time. She got this knife in her this time. There's always somebody that's going to let her know I was there. And I would like to say that I got that stabbing, and I walked away from him, and I never looked up in his face again. But 2 weeks later, I was back with him. I knew nothing else. I knew nothing else. So after we parted ways with each other, I was still drinking. I would try to change where I moved, where I stayed at. I got this other friend, and I stayed close to the store. I thought because I stayed close to the store, that's why I drank so much. So I moved 2 miles away from the store. I started walking 2 miles back to the store. To get me a drink. I'm a holiday drunk, and I remember holidays more than anything. I probably don't remember birthdays well, but I remember holidays. I remember my birthday all the time, but, I'm a holiday drunk. And before I got sober at Easter, I had showed out. I was in a blackout, and they said that I was in somebody else's lap that wasn't my partner. So when Memorial Day came, they didn't let me come with them. They left me, and they went and partied in another town, and I was standing it was a Circle K at that point. I stood at the Circle K on Capitol Street panhandling a drink because I didn't have no money, and I was all on my own. I had no friends at this point. I was alone. When they talk about it in the book, it talks about the loneliness. No one wanted to be around me. And y'all didn't come here just to hear me. Y'all came to get sober. Let me tell you, for a drunk like me, this is awesome. I'm nervous, but this is awesome. You know, people never said, here she comes, let's go talk to her. They said, oh, here she comes, let's go. You know, there's a tone that comes behind there. You know, and I got so tough, I started saying, I'm not going to drink tonight because maybe I drink too much on the weekend. So I was going to start on Wednesday drinking. Y'all done this too, right? So Wednesday went to the weekend, you know. I said, well, I'm not going to drink but one. Maybe I won't drink as much and do the things I've been doing because I didn't know what I was doing. They was telling me what I was doing. And I thought they was telling the story, but I'll drink one night, and the next night, I don't know how many I drank, and I'm off causing trouble. I would leave my kids at home not knowing who was taking care of them. Not because I wanted to leave them. I had to answer a call. When I took one drink, I had to go drink, period. I don't even know if I remember having kids at that point, but I had to go. You know, I remember one night I left home, and I didn't want to go, and I came home with a knot upside my head, so I guess I'd been talking trash to somebody. I'm sure I didn't fall. I leave home one night with a knife in my pants pocket, so I could not in my pants pocket, just in my pants, so I could take care of myself and somebody jump me. I wake up and I be cross town. I don't know where my knife at, and I don't know who I've been with or where I've been. I have no idea, and I was scared, y'all. I thought that when I got stabbed, I had some scar tissue growing around that stabbing, and it was just affecting my brain mentally. And we got a place in Jackson called Whitfield. Y'all know where that's at too, right? Okay. So I said I was gonna go and be committed because I wasn't meaning my kids any good. I was gonna die in this abandoned house. I was scared and I didn't know what else to do. Y'all, I had turned my will and my life over to whoever would take it. And at this point, I was so scared, I just didn't want to die outside. Because when that girl passed that in that abandoned house, it was like a week before they found her. I didn't want to die like that. So I sought Whitfield so I could die with a roof over my head. That's just it. I had a stepsister that had been to treatment, but a couple months before, but I wasn't that bad because my lights were still on at the house. We were bootlegging the gas and the water. But because the lights were on, I was doing better than her. You know, I don't know if the rent was paid. You know, I have no idea. But you know, I went to this place and I went to Whitfield, Mississippi, and when I signed myself in, I was proud to sign myself in because I wanted to know my mama ain't got to sign me out because I know she was gonna leave me in there. Can I get out without her signing me out? Oh yeah, I'll go. You know, and so I went there and I went to the treatment side and it was 4th of July holiday weekend and I thought these people was gonna put me in this straight jacket and, you know, give me whatever treatments I need, and it was holiday weekend, so the doctor didn't come back until Monday. You know, I went to treatment probably like a Thursday or Friday. But from there, I learned they talked about Alcoholics Anonymous. They talked about having a disease. They talked about recovery. And, you know, I hadn't stayed with that many. I've never stayed with women. I'm the only girl. I got 2 brothers. And I was in this place with all these women. I was like, oh, my God. You can't trust them. They moody. And they'll stab you in the back. I'm one, right? And So I went in there, and there were people that had been there before and came back again. There were some people that had been there for the first time. There were some people that were going partying when they left out of there to celebrate completing the treatment center. So I went around. I didn't like being with them for number one. And I wanted to know, what did they not do that they had to come back? Because I don't want to have to come back and stay with them again. Some of them said, now I'm in treatment taking poll now, listen to this now, okay? Some of them said they had a sponsor and they did not use them. So I want to make sure I get a sponsor and use them. Some of them said they stopped going to meetings. Some of them said they didn't work the steps. So I want to do all those things so I don't have to come back and live with these women. Okay? And I smoked at that time, and the punishment in there, they took your cigarettes away one day, and I was sure enough pissed about that. You know, I was sure enough pissed about that. But when I went to that treatment center, I told my mother took me, I had a little Kroger sack with one pair of shoes that cost $2 and 2 pair of pants that somebody had gave me, and probably 2 T-shirts. And I told my mother, I said, I'm going to a place that I can't leave when I get ready. Because it's a dark road going up to Whitfield, and I was scared of the dark, y'all. I didn't know how to get back home. I couldn't walk home. I couldn't walk at night because I was scared. She said, I know. And my next thought was, you ought to jump out this car and roll. I was too scared to skin myself up, so I didn't jump. You know, I was very vain at that point. I didn't have nothing, but I was vain. I didn't want to skin myself up, you know. So I went to treatment, and from there I came to Columbus, Mississippi. I became a member after I got out of treatment, I became a member of the Happy Hour group. It was my first home group. I loved that group. Let me tell you something, we had business meetings, and I would ask a question at the table, and they said, wait a minute, we're gonna stop this meeting so everybody understand what we're doing. I wanna make sure I tell you something and they know what I'm telling you. I was like, wow. I remember they trusted me with the key to open the door to clean up one Saturday night. My mother, I don't even have a key to her house today. Not today. You know, I had these 2 kids. I had one 14-year-old and one 10-year-old when I got sober. And for some reason, Alcoholics Anonymous embraced those kids. They were so good to us. And I didn't even know I needed it. That 14-year-old, 2 years into this thing in Columbus, she didn't like it. She wanted to go back to Jackson. That 10-year-old, I'm telling the story about Tony. He don't like this part, but that 10-year-old, they taught him how to talk. Somebody showed him how to talk to girls. Somebody showed him how to lift weights. Somebody showed him just to have a guy to talk to. He had uncles and Troy had him fixing cars. I'm talking about they just embraced him. And he was just like a sponge. He just sucked it all up. He's in the Air Force today. He's been in, this is his 12th year in the United States Air Force. I'm so proud of him, and I know the ones that work with him are so proud of him also. He's had his troubles with drinking. He didn't miss this thing. But each day he's trying to do a little different. That 14-year-old girl, she went back. And let me tell you something, I had a sponsor in this program. She was so good to everybody that met her, because she introduced the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and took women through the Big Book so they could take other women through the Big Book so they can share the message of this program. She did that, and I'm so honored and so grateful to have met her. But you know, as paths cross, you know, we end those relationships from time to time. And you know, I know how to, she taught me how to hang in there with a relationship with her. And she also taught me how to let go of a long-term relationship with her. You know, and as we sit around these tables, I sit around these tables, I lose my friends to this disease. I would lose some long-term friends to this disease, and I lose some long-term friends to life in here. And I'm so grateful to be a part of this thing. Anywhere I go, anywhere in the state of Mississippi or anywhere in the country I go, I'm welcome. If the doors of AA, if the doors are open, I'm welcome. I'm a member, no matter what. I want to get back to this. Let me tell you, I went to see David a couple of months ago, a month or so ago, and I went to visit with him, and I missed him. And I went to a meeting with another member, with Veronica in Jackson. I went to a meeting with her, and I saw David at the meeting. And that's a God thing, because I came down there through the week, one day through the week, wanting to see him, and I still got to see him. Something so magical happened that day. A girl sat beside me that I grew up with. When I was 14, 13, I wanted to be a part of her family. She had a sister, she had a mother. I wanted to be a part of her family. We played baseball together, and all I can remember was the innocence that I had at that point. And the life I lived between that is so different from that little girl that she knew. I couldn't even speak at a meeting because I was just so absorbed with some feelings and I didn't know what this was about. And I saw Veronica sitting there, and I've been knowing her for 20 years. 20 years I've been knowing Veronica. You know, what happened with me was I had changed. I had changed not because I'm the best woman around. I had changed because one day at a time in Alcoholics Anonymous, with good sponsorship, with the heroes that had come before me and the people that continue to come in have shown me how to live one day at a time, and I had changed. Because, see, when she last known about me, I was on the streets hustling. I was that girl doing those outside issues in the street. She didn't know what had happened to me. She said, I'm going to tell my mom I saw you. I didn't think I needed that day. I didn't ask for that day. But God, for some reason, I got to be shown that. I'm not that person I used to be. And I'm so grateful. You know, about a month ago, I had a great story to tell. I was doing a good job in my mirror at home. You know, I had everybody engaged in my message, and I've been working so hard today. I hadn't even had time to take a nap. That's an understatement there. That's an understatement there. I still have a sponsor today. She's having her first grandbaby tonight, and she wasn't able to be with me. I told her I do understand because I have four. I have these 4 grandkids that these 2 kids that I didn't even take care of will let me come pick them up and keep them for a week at a time. I couldn't keep my own kids for a month at a time because I was still chasing that booze or that outside issue or whatever. But I get to be that person today. You know, and I got this mother. You know, as I saw, the powerlessness in my life, I saw it. You know, in 1, 2, and 3, I had to get right with some type of power in my life. And it wasn't God. I said it was God at that time, but I know it's God today. It was my higher power. I love when I used to come into meetings and they say, choose something for a higher power. Just choose the group if you don't have anything else. See, I had nothing to bank on. I had nothing to start with. I had this idea of a father. I couldn't do that. I had this idea of a director. I couldn't do that. I had to start off real simple. Real simple. It's the group was my higher power. My sponsor's God was my God in the beginning. I had no clue. It's just amazing. A lot of people come in here and they have all the answers. They got God, them and God are just right, and that's okay. But my story is I had to start off real simple because I didn't know. But when I did step 4 and 5, I had a lot of things that I had done. I had a lot of people I owed. I had this mother that I thought had took my kids and didn't want me to have them because she was jealous that I had these kids. I had this old sickness. I had this mother that I had to go back and in 4, I saw my part in, I had to go back and make amends too. I had to tell this mother thank you because she had went above and beyond the call of duty. She raised her 3 bad children, and she raised my 2. And I had to tell her thank you. And as they greet her as mother, and I'm okay with that because I don't deserve that other part. But they embrace me and they do good things for me, and I love them as a mother would. But I know what she did for them probably saved their lives because they didn't need to be with me. I got these 2 brothers that, as our family separated, we never did talk to each other. We weren't really closer to each other. I had one brother come in this program, and he went back, and then he came back in this program. But, he said he doesn't drink today, and that's fine with me. But he doesn't come to meetings, and that's cool, too. Whatever God's doing with him, and that's none of my business. But I got this older brother that I had never even been a sister to either one of them. So what I had to start doing was at birthdays to say something, to recognize him as a big brother, to recognize the good things that he's done. And let me tell you, any topic that I call him about, he wants to talk. He wants to talk. He says, he texts me and he said, "Thank you, sis." That's kind of weird to me, But, he considers me, he considers me that because I've never considered him. It's not about him, it's about me. I just thought he was that boy over there, or that boy over there. My baby brother, he can't stand it. He said, "I wish you quit calling me boy." So come here, boy, let me tell you something, But I'm so grateful today. I'm so grateful to Starkville group. They allow me to participate in their group. They allow me to be the DCM of the district there. They think well of me. Let me tell you something, I'm so proud to be a part of with them. I don't know what to do because, like I said, a lot of people didn't never want me around. But let me tell you about this 14-year-old. And I've been participating in her life all this time and suiting up and showing up. Her life kind of crumbled 3 years ago. She came to stay with me. In the beginning, it's like, golly, I get to do it different now. I get to be a different person in her life. And 2 months into that, it's like, I wish you would hear him go home. It's like, this is not about no love right here. She's so different than I thought she was. I had this idea of who I thought she was. See, I thought she was so well that I was just going to embrace her. And I'm looking at her and it's, why is she doing that? Why is she acting like this? She's seen me for 20 years stay sober in this program. Why she treat me like that? In a moment of clarity came. Well, she came from me. What do I expect her to be? She come from a sick mama. She got to be sick too. So as I allow her to be sick, and don't get me wrong now, I'm sick of myself, but she's got her own way of life. She's 35 today. She'll be 35 this year. She's got her own way of life. She's got her own way of living. She's got her own thought process. And she'll tell me she don't need my help. I like that. I know where I stand with her. But today, she's been with me for 3 years, and her and her little grandson, and I've been doing all this grandmother stuff, and I used to do it a week at a time, Now it's like I did it all, and taking her to baseball games because she was working and did all that stuff. And I'm so grateful that I was able to suit up and show up. Because and she left today. She moved back, and I thought I'd be happy, joyous, and free, but I'm so sad because it just broke my heart. Because I done good by her. I just wanted to help her. It broke my heart, but see, I don't get to write her story. It's between her and God where her life goes. My deal is I need to stay sober. Kids or no kids, job or no job, The book said wife or no husband or no husband. I need to stay sober one day at a time. God's going to make the wherever available. But I'm so grateful that I didn't have to fuss with her, put her out, be ugly to her. I could show her what y'all have shown me. I showed her some love and tolerance, you know. And I just wanted to be something different to her. And I was. And we more kind of like, in a way, sisters in a way, you know, in a way. But I'm so grateful that I got to do those kind of things. You know, I wish I had a good joke to tell, but I don't. I'm not the joke-telling type. But I just want to say, from whence I come from, I live a good life today. I have a job that I've been on for about 10 years at this place. I've been a supervisor in some place. And David, he said that at the table. I told you about I was a 10th grade dropout, went back to school, passed some exams because of y'all, and got another degree in something, got my bachelor's in something. I work as a supervisor at my job. You know, these people at work think I'm awesome. They think I'm kind of square, too. You know, they laugh at me a lot, and I laugh at myself a lot. I have to keep these glasses by me because I can't read much. And I have 2 pair of glasses, one on and trying to put another one on at the same time, you know. And they think I'm really funny, you know. They'll say, well, Evelyn, you need to come on and go drink with us. We need to come out and have a drink with us. I said, baby, you don't want me to come drinking with you. They said, come on, Evelyn, we'll drive. You ain't got to drive. You can come drink with me. And it's a running joke at work now, but let me tell you what I tell them. If I take a drink, I'm going to get butt naked, and I'm going to be on top of the table. They said, you ain't got to go with us, Evelyn. Now, it's a running joke when somebody asks me to go drinking with them. Don't take Evelyn. She gonna get naked. She gonna get naked. I want to tell y'all, I don't know if I said anything to help anybody. If anybody's new here tonight, welcome. Welcome. Because I thought this was gonna be the most boring place on earth. I thought I wasn't gonna never have no fun. I thought I was going to have to go to church and wear these dresses all the time and get some oil wiped on me. I didn't know what was in store. But if you're new here, welcome. I remember a man used to say in the meeting, you know those things at the park, they turn around and you spin on them and you spin on them and you spin, you run and you spin on them. He said in Alcoholics Anonymous, when you're new, just get in the middle and let us spin it for you. You hang on till the miracle happens, because there is a miracle. There's a life to be lived here. I just want to read this one paragraph, and I'm going to sit down, and I want to thank all of y'all for just tolerating me. I had to apologize to Charles. I told him last year at the kickoff meeting, I came in the meeting talking. Tony said, shh. I had to apologize to Charles and to this group. I want to read one thing for you, and it's on page 46, and Lord, let me tell you something. It's the most awesome thing to me. He said, we find that God does not make too hard of terms on those who seek him. To us, the realm of the Spirit is broad and roomy, all-inclusive, never exclusive or forbidden to those who earnestly seek. It is open, we believe, to all men. Thank you so much for my sobriety.
I think we got a great talk going on here. Thanks for watching the channel. Taper Dave here. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Okay, this is how I prepare my drone for launching. I like to do it inside the cab of my truck so I'm not standing outside in the weather. To install the joysticks for control, up and down, right and left, Powered on. I have an Android phone that I use to connect it to the drone with. And it's actually controlled through the iPhone, through an app. Oops, wrong way. It's actually controlled through the iPhone, or through this Android phone, through the app. It's actually controlled through the Android phone, through an app, and you connect it through this short connection right here.
Remote control connected.
Remote control's connected. So I pull out the drone. I have to extend the legs. Long legs extended first, then the short legs. Remove the gimbal protector. Set that aside. Then power it on one short burst, then one long burst. I lay it down. So I have to go to calibrate. So the drone's not connected yet. It shows you here as this drone gets disconnected, even though the remote's powered on. So the drone has to establish it's connected. So I go into the app to calibration mode. First I'll calibrate the remote controller. Start calibration. Out, in, out, in, up, down, and then this little wheel is to control the gimbal. So it's calibrated. Go to gimbal calibration, start calibration, and then it calibrates the gimbal. And if that shows up, the gimbal's moving all over the place. Changes, you can see it on the video. And I'm calibrated to take off. It's acquired 7 satellites at the moment. There are 26 satellites up in the sky, which it has to acquire before you can take off. So it's connected. It's got enough satellites. This is white. I can go to press this little arrow button, swipe right to take off, and it would start the motors if I slid this to the right. But I'll wait till I get outside. Don't want to do it inside.